All right. I got this email from somebody based in Dubai, and obviously, I'm not going to mention his key details, but I would definitely share the incident that took place. Okay. I've edited a few bits out so that there is no link to his identity or anonymity of who I'm speaking. And the main reason for sharing this incident with you is so that you can learn from other people's mistake. So let's start. Hi, Loy. I wanted to share this incident about my ex colleague. Okay, which is both shocking and heartbreaking. This man lost everything: his family, his wealth, his career, just because he made one bad decision. Okay, the guy was Delhi born Keralite. Okay, he's a Keralite, but who was born in Delhi. So he's not the typical Keralite. He, well educated, good personality, outgoing, had the traits to succeed in the corporate world. And then the guy who sent me the letter said, I met him in 2010 when he joined this particular company. I don't want to state the company or the industry. Okay. So the guy was exceptional in terms of his leadership, in terms of communication, in terms of his personality. He was senior to me, and honestly, everyone in the office looked up to him. So a very likable guy, gentleman, sort of, and someone who has a good family life, a good presence in the office and in society. He stands out. Okay. He was a down to earth, approachable guy, ready to mentor anyone, someone who would always lend a helping hand when needed and guide people on their career path. Okay. So everything great about this guy. The guy had a wife and he had children. I'll not state how many. Okay, but he had not the usual one or two. He had more than that, and we were constantly in touch. However, due to market conditions which changed, later on he had to send back his wife and send back his kids so that they would study in India, and the expenses in Dubai would come down a little bit. And obviously, he had to send back his wife also because the wife is taking care of the kids. You can't leave them with your relatives. Nobody would love your children the way you would love your children. Okay, so the arrangement is now very simple. Before, he was with his wife and his children, and they were schooling here. Wife was, maybe a housewife, and he was working, taking care of all of them. So it's one man and wife and 1, 2, 3. So one man's salary is covering 5 people. He's 5 mouths to feed, which is not a very small thing. It is, I have only wife and kid, and that also I stay in Samui, where I keep my expenses as low, means in the sense that we don't buy brands or we don't spend money on anything, and life here is very simple. We live a quality life, but still it's not cheap. If you actually count all the bits and pieces, and we are living a good life. So I can imagine someone who is living in Dubai, not in India, in Dubai. So that would have been very expensive. So obviously, smart thing to do is you guys go back to India. I will send money, which when you convert is, higher, and live a simple life. And that's how we'll go about. Okay. So then, instead of having his own apartment, he moved into sharing accommodation with some other men. Okay. So now, when he moved to another apartment, there were mostly bachelors who were there. And if you know what bachelors do, what do bachelors do? Well, bachelors try to enjoy their life. Most of them, some of them, even though they were married, the wives were back home. So what they used to do is, get together, and they would have their drinks, they would have their games, card games, they would watch their, entertainment or whatever, they would hang out. And many of them were smokers, drinkers, and some were even womanizers, which is normal because a man with at least normal testosterone has to go and satisfy his sexual appetite. So instead of being frustrated, they used to go and go for a little jiggy. And it seems that one of the most common thing that they would do almost literally almost every day was go to dance bars. Okay. Initially, he was very hesitant. He didn't smoke, he didn't drink, he didn't do anything. But due to the peer pressure, just imagine, someone in his 30s and 40s, even there also you have your peer pressure. Uh, they kept pressurizing him. So at first he kept saying, no, 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 no. Finally, he said, okay, fine, I'll come out with you. He went out with them. And then, they must have been really nice to him. So they took him out for a movie. They took him out for food. Then he started getting familiar with them. And very soon he became friendly with them. Then they would buy food, and then he would chip in and buy food, and then they would buy alcohol. At first, he didn't spend money on alcohol, but slowly, it seems, in order to fit in, he started with small drinks. Then he increased the drinks. And because he had pressure also at work, in order to release the pressure, they said, why don't you just have a sip? And that is where he got hooked onto it, it seems. Okay. Over the period of time, he found himself hanging out with them more and more. And there he got bitten by the bar culture. They would go to these bars and pubs and sit and talk late night. Say he, being alone, he didn't have any other form of entertainment. So he used to go there, and very soon he started enjoying going to these, I think it's called the Mujra bars. These Indian girls, they dance, and he used to go there. He used to enjoy. He was not necessarily, hardcore at it, but he used to enjoy. Then, as he became a regular, and the outlet manager found them to be a regular, they were given a table, and because they were regular patrons, and very soon that table got promoted from in the back to the middle to the front. That is how normally bars operate. What they do is they give you a table because you're a regular spender. Okay, you can have a seat here. You don't have to pay anything. And if the manager knows that you're spending, let's say, $1,000, he'll keep you at the back. But if he knows that there's potential for you to spend $2,000, then he'll move you a little bit front. The goal is to be as close to the girls who are dancing as much as possible, so that you're encouraged to spend. The girls will dance, gyrate, they'll show their boobies and their bum, and they'll wink at you and smile at you and all that. And obviously you feel important. You feel like I'm the man. And see, one of the things that happens here is it kind of brings back your younger days. It brings back the days where girls, college days, you're looking at girls and girls were looking at you, and you're smiling and they were smiling, and you're flirting with each other. So it kind of brings that nostalgic feeling of being young. Just imagine, when you're young, you at least had, a good physique, if not a six-pack abs. You used to do sports, and you are not fat. Now you have this pot belly, and you're unhealthy, and you have a mustache, and you have a beard, and you're sitting like and here you have this sexy little girl who is maintaining herself. You'll feel like, wow, it has been 10 years since anyone smiled at me. I have this wife, she's also fat. And here I have this girl who's half the size, half the age. You'll feel good. And then what happened is, one other thing about the psychological aspect is, you need a break. You need to let your guard down. You need to feel fresh, dress fresh, perfume and all that. And here a woman is giving you importance. And when you enter the club, imagine there are lights and, lights blinking and darkness, and there's music and there are people all around. And the the club manager, if he's really smart, he'll welcome you in front of everyone. And right at the front where it says reserved, you are made to sit there like a VIP. So obviously you'll feel like, hey guys, VIP is in the house. So, and when you sit there, he'll give you nuts and he'll give you cheese and he'll give you, sir, what would you like? And he would bring, chicken lollipop or whatever. Sometimes even without asking you, he would bring it and you would be like, yeah, thanks, thank you very much. And the girls would like, do this and all that. And you'll be like, so, that artificial ego boost that is there. You are made to feel as if you're a multi-millionaire. While actually, what is happening is they are squeezing every penny out of you by making you psychologically feel like you are the man, you're the alpha male, you're the boss. Okay. And remember, this is what they do for regular patrons. So, this is what they started to do, and very soon, he felt at least somewhere is getting importance. Okay, apart from the corporate life. And remember, now he has been away from his wife. Now, sexual frustration. How much can you just use your hand or watch porn? So, as time went by, obviously he was alone. He, started to get a little tempted about girls and all that. And that was where one of the girls who was dancing over there, okay, she started to flirt with him. Okay, and she would do it regularly. And he started to come there every day to at least say hi or, flirt with the girl, eyes meet and bye bye, hi. Like they became like friends. And the manager was busy capitalizing on this. So just imagine, before it was like once a week, then became twice a week. Then when you became a VIP, he would go every time and just have a small little drink. But now it started to become every day where you just have just a beer, but still he would get that VVIP treatment. And you can't just have a beer. So obviously you will have food and alcohol. Light alcohol, nothing heavy. And it became a regular habit. Every day he would literally go there. Initially it was nothing but, hi, how are you? And, I'll call you, you'll call me. And very soon the numbers got exchanged, which I'm very sure the manager also knew. And they exchanged numbers and now it started full-fledged calls. Okay. So you see the progression. He is going deeper and deeper into the hole. They started sending texts. They started having talks. And whenever he would come, and she would be, she would show she's very delighted. And he would always, spend money there. And then it started where he started to buy her gifts because he liked her. And before you know it, they met each other outside the hotel premises, and there they started kind of dating. Initially, it was just going for movies, going for food, going for out, and then he started buying her gifts. You kind of, I'm sure you know where it's headed. Okay, so he was spending money on her. Very soon, it started to increase the amount of money that he was spending on her, the frequency he was meeting her, and they even started, staying like a couple, where they would book a hotel room or they would book somewhere, have jing bang sex. And soon it became shopping sprees, dinners, makeups, entertainment, anything and everything she wanted. Why? Because she was half the age and he would literally take care of her. Okay. Good looking chick must be from North India. They are fairly white. And okay. And then he committed the cardinal mistake. And the cardinal mistake is he gave her a credit card because he every time couldn't keep borrowing money and giving her money. And she started to spend on the credit card. And see, we are not talking about someone who gave like 100,000 dirhams or $50,000 to her in a hand. When you give someone little money, it becomes more. Like the example I give, I told you, right? I'm staying in Samui. I'm staying in Samui, which is like 60-70% cheaper than Dubai. But here's the deal that people don't think about. They think just because it's cheaper, 70% here, I'm saving all 70%. Here's the thing that will really shock you. When something becomes cheaper, people tend to spend more because now they have more money in their hands. That itch always remains. And I'll be honest with you, I too suffer from that itch. The number of gaming devices, handheld devices, dual laptops, state of the art technology, headphones, earphones. I mean, I've really spent a lot. Like if I would spend the same amount of money, say in Dubai, it would be unbelievable. It would be like me living 5 times more than my current lifestyle. But because I was able to save more money, I was able to spend more money. And that is why, if you actually see, even foreigners who, when they live in Australia, when they live in US, beer is expensive, alcohol is expensive, girls are expensive, life is expensive. But when they come here and it's cheaper, they don't spend less. Because beer is cheaper, they buy more beer. Because alcohol is cheaper, they buy more alcohol. And eventually they end up bankrupt. It's like they were bankrupt there, they were bankrupt here. So bad habits die hard. Okay, no matter where you go. Even if he were to go to the cheapest place in the world where he'd spend only 5% of what 5% expense, he would still compensate by eating more, spending more, more females to have sex with, more alcohol to drink. You get what I'm saying? So, in the end, if the focus is not must save, then it comes to zero. And this is exactly what happened. Very soon, it seems, because of the number of things he was buying, because of the expenses and the credit card, she kind of overdrew up to 100,000 dirhams. Okay, close to more than that actually. And he was busy paying the interest. And he didn't seem to mind it because he thought she loved him, she cared for him, and he was enjoying the sex, which was absolutely ultimate. I can tell you this much: when you give a man who is sexually active and alone, and you satisfy him, you have an amazing body and you have an amazing look, and you give them great sex, they are your slave. Trust me, been there in my 30s. The girl who I tattooed here, sex was amazing. It was like literally, not exaggerating, minimum 3 hours to 4 hours per day. Those days when I was high on testosterone, bodybuilding, steroids, and all that. And we used to sometimes, when the day was off, holiday, really, she was an nymphomaniac. Almost 9 hours, sometimes 9 hours of sex. It was crazy, man. And I was literally, I'll admit, I was literally a slave, like a simp for her. Okay, but I'll tell you, the best sex, most intense sex, the longest sex, the craziest sex was with that female. Okay, that was 30. I am 48, 18 years ago. Okay. Yeah. So he got hooked on by the attention, the so-called love, the so-called sex, the so-called pleasure, the good moments. But as months went by, things got worse. He had taken multiple cards for her. He had even taken a loan for her. And now his majority of his salary was going to settle just the interest, not the actual amount. And soon he started to default on the payments. And little did he know, before you know it, it seems he had more than 11 credit instruments that he had to pay. 11. Let that sink in. Okay. He started to get regular calls from multiple banks. He started to get collection agents calling him, threatening him, even people coming to the office to chase him. for the amount which he could not pay. And then he started to do another thing. He started to borrow from one card to pay to another card, and borrow from a loan to pay to something else. And very soon he got into loan sharks. He was just all over the place. He was not in control. To cover his financial mess, he finally had to resort to borrowing money from literally friends, relatives, and even loan sharks, which was where he got into the ultimate mess, where he started, because he had access to the company funds, he started taking money, where he would take money and he would pay back later. But it started to become a habit because he had access to all the money. Remember, he was at a senior level by then. And he would take money and pay it back. But very soon it became he would take money and he was unable to pay. Now he was completely in a financial fix where funds were being taken without the company's knowledge and permission, and he would pay it back, but it was all over the place. Then finally, one day, the final blow came. Uh, that was when the bar girl showed up suddenly to his office with a couple of her so called friends and a few muscle bound men. Apparently, they had a disagreement a few days ago in terms of the money payments, in terms of the relationship. He must have realized how deeply he had sunk, and he wanted to break up with her. He was not ready to compensate her, and obviously by now she knows his strengths, she knows his weaknesses, she knows everything. And when you're getting free money, you don't want to let go of the money. So the guy who has written the email, he doesn't know exactly what happened at the background, but this is more or less whereby um, when he wanted to break up with her, okay, she wanted compensation. He was not able to pay the compensation, and because he started to ignore her and not give her anything else, so she decided to take the ultimate revenge by first you ask nicely, then you ask shouting, then you ask emotionally. That does work. Then you start screaming, then you start threatening. And finally, when you realize it's not working out anymore, she'll be like, I give you my body, I give you everything, and this is how you treat me. I'm not going to keep quiet. I'm going to mess up your life. And that is where she came in. Okay. He barged in, caused a scene, screaming and shouting the worst insults in front of everyone in the office, colleagues, customers, until the owner himself came in and threatened, because the owner is a big shot. So he threatened all of them, and obviously they didn't want to take panga with the owner. And as she was screaming and shouting, she let out the secrets as, you take money from the company, you take money from anywhere, which was where the owner of the company decided to conduct an audit. Okay, because obviously she must have screamed, I don't care, you borrow from the company or you take out from your customers or this and that, she must have said. So, red flag, no? Then the owner, take from the company, take from the customers. So he was standing there, humiliated, shivering and shaking, because he realized he had been exposed as the entire office. What's the drama? It was so embarrassing. Nobody spoke to him. Nobody talked to him. Later on, he got called into the office, and the owner said he has to conduct a investigation of what has happened, and he suspended him. And this is where it becomes even more problematic, because if you are, one second, if you are suspended, you do not have any access to any of the company resources, and your computer is there, your all your records, everything is there. And if they are conducting an audit, they're going to supervise everything. And that is where they found out that he had been taking money from the company. Obviously, he was paying it back, but you can't just take money just like that. And after they conducted the audit, they found out the full extent of his actions. He had not only taken multiple loans, he had also forged certain documents to get extra cards. Means, when you take a card, you have to, the company letterhead and all that. So he had made sure that he had multiple, documents to get those extra cards. And they also found out that he had taken money from the company without the company's permission. And finally, the boss couldn't take it anymore, and he called him, terminated him. And obviously, when you terminate an employee and the employee has bank loans, you have to inform the bank. As soon as he got terminated, the banks were informed that he got terminated. All of a sudden, all the banks, all the collection agencies, everyone jumped on him, and they started harassing the living daylights. And they had put multiple warrants, legal cases that he has to pay. Threatening him for this thing, because it's not a very big amount. 100,000, yeah, it is a big amount if you go beyond that. But if they take you to court, they don't get anything. But because of all the civil and all the cases, he couldn't even get another job. So finally, he had no other choice but to call back home and ask money from there, sell off whatever he had. Soon the news traveled from the office to people in India, social media, and his wife found out, filed for divorce. He sold off all his property, he sold off all his wealth, sold off all the gold just to pay the debts, and he also had to pay for the lawyer, he had to pay for the alimony, he had to pay for the divorce. It was a complete shit show. Even his own family, everyone, was too ashamed to associate with him. Eventually, after months and months of not being employed in UAE, but he settled everything down. He sold his property, everything else at a loss. The damage was already done. Nobody wanted to give him a job. He wouldn't get, a reference letter from the company, obviously. So then he left. And to this date, no one knows where he is. All his social media accounts have been deleted, and not even back home they know where he is. The guy who wrote the letter tried to get in touch with him, try to figure out where is he. There's no news. So really, a tragic story. Uh, it's very easy to make fun of him. It's very easy to mock him. It's very easy to say, "Hey, see, you're a dumbass. You're a simp. You're a this. You're a that." But when you're not in that person's shoes, sometimes it can be incredibly hard. Sad story. I wish there was a happy ending to this, but I guess this is the reality of life. So, what do you think is the moral of the story? I'll leave it up to you. But remember, um, if you don't make the right choices, if you use emotions, and if you are, uh, addicted to sex or females, especially these kind of females, there is nothing else other than you'll go downhill. And remember, one final thing which I forgot to tell you: these girls, no, when they get a new customer or they get a new lover, and when they get money, they do give the manager commission. They do give, in some cases, like they pay the hotel certain amount of, like a fine. Like, when guys come and they throw money like this on a girl, it's not the whole money is for the girl. There is percentage of how much she gets. Majority is taken by the owners. And when she was getting all these perks and benefits that he thought is for the girl, I'm pretty sure she was paying her share to the manager, her share to her friends, taking care of everyone. So that's why everyone supported her. So it was not he taking care of just the girl. She was taking care of everyone. So in conclusion, a really sad story, unfortunate. And this is something that really happens in many parts of the world, not just Dubai or not just India, not just US. When you get a female who's focused, who's dangerous, who knows her body, who knows her beauty, who knows her capacity to make a man weak for sex and exploit him, especially where his vulnerabilities are concerned, it's nothing but total destruction of your life. So, what did you learn from the story? What did you pick up from this? What were the morals that you feel you have learned. Let me know in the comments below. Good, bad, ugly. Love to read your thoughts. You guys take care. This is me signing off. Ciao.